10 days, the window before the world's most vital energy artery faces a shutdown. The Strait of Hormuz is on the brink. As geopolitical tensions boil over, the shadow of conflict moves into the open sea. The reaction is instantaneous. Brent crude surges past $100 as global markets enter a freefall. Contagion spreads. Europe and the UK face red alerts, while the Atlantic provides only a temporary buffer. Volatility is the new reality. Currency exchanges and commodity desks are struggling to find a floor. From North Sea rigs to central banks, the macro impact is undeniable. The era of cheap energy is over. In the chaos, capital seeks safety. The dollar returns to its roots, forged as sound money in a digital age. When the world fractures, only the most resilient survive. This is the new geopolitical landscape.
Dollar is my strongest, as we would see, and then I have my Swiss as a server, just for a particular reason this week. We have the card too, and then the yen also. So the servers, I feel they will be coming in through this week. Then the euro and the pound, yes, they are looking to hike, but I'm looking at them as stagflation kings and princes, so there might be an issue with them. NZD is very weak. Okay, so if you look at this, Dixie is telling me that it is bullish, and this is a D1 demand, which I expect price to mitigate and continue to the upside. So we might see something of this nature on the Dixie too. If we see this on the Dixie, definitely I would look at the USD JPY for reasons that this high is broken, right? So let us look at it from this perspective. See, this is the D1 demand mark. So I expect that by Tuesday we might see a push, and then we see a little push to the upside. I have my USD Swiss. Also, I'm still bullish also on almost all of them. But the only issue I have with this USD Swiss is that it is already in a bearish market. So this is bearish. Alright, so this is the low, and this place, it's supposed to continue to the upside, right? But the market opens and we see a push to the upside first. I would love to short this before this for continuation. Same goes for the USD card, but I'm fully bullish on the USD card because I believe the market might break this pull back, then we have a push to the upside, or we might see a pull to this point, then we long fully. NZD USD has the same issues, right? This is practically very powerful. So we have this supply zone, which I talked about last week. Last week I made mention of these cells, and now we have this entire cells, as you can see. So what I'll expect the market to do is that if it pushes down, pulls back, you might see a short or to this area. It would be fantastic for a short. Euro USD USD is equivalent of that, but also the AUD USD looks good, as we can see on the weekly. On the weekly we are bearish, very sorry. On weekly we have massively bearish. I have this weekly supply zone. Yes, so I expect a pullback, and then we might short to this point. Yes, so that will be our short to longs, and let's just take a look at what's actually moving the entire market, because the entire market now is circled on circling around the oil. I've been looking at longs. Yes, I made mention of this long environment last week. Yes, we have this fantastic move push, and I still expect a push higher. So if oil is higher, then the card is on the table. That's why I actually marked the card as the second stronger currency. Why? If we look at the pound card. Let's look at the pound card. While looking at the pound card on the weekly time frame, look at this candle. It's telling me it's bullish, right? So it means I'm looking for D1. But when I went to the daily time frame, I saw no demand, except maybe you could classify this as a demand, which means the market will be selling to this point. And if the market is going to sell to that point, this is a D1 supply. So if that is a D1 supply, I'll be looking out for potentials for a sell. Yes, the market, I'm already in this position, yes. So this is the reason why I'm looking to that. That's the reason why I'm looking for shorts. And also, if we look at this as a high, this is a low, right? So this is a high. So this is a high, we are looking for potential low to go higher, right? But what if the market creates a low, fails to create a high, and then we continue the short? And the target is quite far away. So looking at it from a monthly perspective, I expect price to go quite lower on the pound card. So that's what I'll be looking out for on the pound card. But the euro card seems to look not quite interesting. Um, yes. So the euro card is telling me that price has to go a little bit higher before I can short. When I went to my daily time frame, this looks like a demand of some sort, but it's not too clear. So what I will do is I will wait. If price head here, I will short. If price comes here, I will long first before looking for shorts. Now that's just because of the card strength. But while looking at the currencies on the card yen strength, I'm expecting price. I would long. This is the only point I'll be looking for longs on the card yen. While this is a high, this is a low. So I'm expecting a higher low there. Um, let's take a look at this Euro AUD. Looking at longs on the Euro AUD, and it's quite interesting because if we look at this from a weekly perspective, it's funny that this, yes, we have a weekly bullish candle and we have a demand. This is the point I expect price to be to. If you look at it from a daily standpoint, what we have here is that this is the demand that we look to long, or if price comes lower, yes, of course. So we'll be longing to this target. I also have this, I think the Euro Swiss looks bullish, yes. The Euro Swiss, yes. Look at this on weekly time frame. We are looking to continue buying at least to this point. So if we are looking to buy to that point, where are we buying from? This is a demand, this is a demand. So if price should bounce off here, it's still good for us. If price should bounce on here, we'd love to long. So this Euro Swiss is a high probability. The Euro NZD is also a high probability. Why? Because of the NZD weakness, but it's not too clear. I've been mentioning this to you guys for the past few weeks on the weekly time frame. So this is our supply area. This is the supply. So looking for a demand to buy into this supply. So with your strategy, you can look for what suits you and how to enter that. So looking at price coming back to this demand, then we can long, just be looking at the demand somewhere there. What I also have is the BP AUD. I think there is a long there. Yes, so I have these longs here. So I'll look for longs more here. Why? Because we are in a risk off environment, not risk on. So the AUD is not that appealing in as much as the interest banks, central banks are hiking rates. I've looked to be selling it, yes, but just for the meantime, just when this war issues is washing away, then we can look for longs. The GN is also a high probability setup for me, and I've been calling this for the past weeks. But the issue I have with the GN is that there's no clear form of demand here for me, so I'll wait for confirmation. to long into this area of supply that I've been looking out for. I call this all the way from this bottom, and it's been going. So let's just be looking at that. Now this outlook is not about news. It's about the expectation validation. Market has priced in a disruption. Yes, if the April 6th deadline Trump gave passes without a resolution, we move from a correction to systemic realignment. And for that reason, I've been talking about the US 500, sorry, the indices. I've been talking about the indices, particularly the US 500. And for this reason, look at this. I gave this out. I gave this out from this point. The entry was massive. Yes. So this is a break. I'm expecting a pullback in and a short again. It's quite simple. I talked about this demand. This is the only point I'm expecting price to come lower. We also have others at 5,700 and also have at 5,500 or so. So we just be looking at that. Smart money moved into the USD and energy weeks ago. So if you are still holding growth beta, that's currencies that are looking at growth, then or in energy dependent European assets like the euro, you are fighting a kinetic trend that hasn't even peaked. So manage your risks, watch the 1.05 level in the euro. So look at parity actually. But remember stagflation 2.0, yield and energy are the only languages that market speak. This is macro crest. We'll see you in the opening bell. So let's enjoy that.